Hey guys, it's Madison, and it's been a whole month of learning Japanese. And yeah, it's actually been better in some ways than I expected, like consistency wise. I've actually kept track of how many days I've been studying just because I've been actually taking notes in a notebook for once in my life. And I've been, dating those pages. So I counted and I've studied for 18 days over the past 30 days. And I still could also study today, technically, so maybe 19. That's pretty consistent for me. I don't know what that says about me and my consistency, but I was pretty happy with that. And hopefully I can continue, that pattern of studying for most days of the month into the future. But yeah, the struggle this month was to kind of look for different resources for my level, which is still very much hardcore beginner. I mentioned before that I took one semester of Japanese in college, so I'm not like totally starting from nothing. And I also have studied 3 years of Chinese and 10 years of Korean, so some of the similarities in those languages have helped me. But as far as Japanese goes, I'm still definitely a beginner. But yeah, the main struggle as a beginner is to find like good resources. I mentioned last time, I'm not looking to buy a bunch of textbooks. I love learning for free. That is my style. So I've been mostly just looking on the internet to see what I can get there. And yeah, I mostly use Japanese Pod 101. Um, I'm still kind of, meh, I don't know if I don't totally love it like I love Talk to Me in Korean, but it's fine. That's pretty much how I feel about that. My premium subscription that I got for $1 for the first month expires tomorrow, and I'm not renewing it because it's a lot more expensive after that first month. And so we'll see how the experience changes after it's not premium anymore, and maybe someday I'll make a video talking about how I feel about Japanese Pod 101. There's too much I have to say about that. But yeah, other than that, I kind of like, looked, good free resources for Japanese beginners on the internet, and I found a couple of things that look promising. The first one is called like Take Him's Guide to Learning Japanese. I haven't used too much of that, but it seems like a really good resource. I'm not too much into just like reading a grammar book, but as far as grammar things go, it seems like a really good resource. And I like his writing style. I've read a little bit. I have the app. It has an app too, and it's free. I know I called it a book. It's kind of like a book, but it's like in an app and it's free. I don't know. But yeah, it seems really good, and I'll probably use it as kind of a side reference going forward. And yeah, that's the themes. That seems like a good resource. Also, I found something that looks pretty cool um, called News Web Easy. It's a website where I don't know what NHK is. It's probably the name of a newspaper, but it kind of takes like top articles from that day or whatever, and it writes it in a much more simplified version. And it seems really good for maybe not total beginners. It still seems pretty much above my level where I'm at, but it has some really good features. It has audio for the article that you can pause. It also has um, a system where you can turn the kana, like it'll have the kana, I think it's called furikana, I don't know. It'll have the kana written above kanji, and you can turn that on and off depending on your preference. And so that's really convenient because, especially for me where I know like practically negative kanji. That's not true. At this point, I know some kanji, but it feels like I know almost no kanji. So for me, I definitely am at the point where I need it, but I actually like went through and tried to I transcribed one whole article about Naomi Osaka winning the US Open, and I tried, I wrote down all the new kanji and used the article to try and like figure out grammar things kind of just intrinsically. And it was kind of fun, and I'm definitely going to be coming back to this website later, but yeah, it took me way too long to get through the simplified version, and I still like don't know like very basic grammar structures that I probably should know. So I kind of went back to Japanese Pod 101 after that and bookmarked the page for future reference. And yeah, actually probably pretty soon in the next month or two, I'll probably be getting back to that and we'll be feeling more comfortable there. But yeah, it seems like a good resource for maybe upper beginner level up to intermediate. Now, once you get to advanced, you probably could just read the regular news articles. But yeah, it seems like a great resource with the audio and the toggling of the furikana on and off. And yeah, those are mainly the resources that I found. I already knew how to write the kana, and I did try to improve my handwriting slightly. Like I mentioned, I've been writing everything down basically this time around. I never really did that with Korean or anything else. Korean's the only thing I've still studied. But even like, when I was taking classes, I never like just take copious notes. That wasn't really my style. But with Japanese and kanji and everything, I figured it'd be best for me if I actually tried to write things down. And because, otherwise there's no way I'm remembering how to write these kanji. I'm still very much at the beginner stage, obviously, only 1 month into my self-study. Um, on one hand, it feels like I've made progress. On the other hand, it feels like, I don't know, like the beginning stages, you're supposed to feel like you're like growing by leaps and bounds, right? Learning Japanese from beginning like this is definitely making me appreciate my Korean level a lot more. It's been a while since I've been a beginner in a language, and man, it feels rough to not know anything. But I'm getting there slowly but surely. Ah, man, and the nice thing about Korean is that, like, you don't have the barrier of kanji there because, Korean is like, yeah, there's lots of conjugating verbs and grammar stuff that can be kind of confusing at the beginning. But the writing system, is very simple, totally alphabet, like easy to read. You can read anything once you learn the alphabet. And then Mandarin Chinese is basically the opposite. Like there's like basically zero conjugating verbs. Like past, future, present, the verb just stays the same. You'll like add a word here or there just to show like when it's happening. And like it doesn't matter who the subject is, like the verb just stays the same. The grammar is very simple. But then the writing system is like characters. We're not phonetic. Good luck. And then tones. But tones weren't really a huge issue for me. But the writing system, man, ugh. But at least the grammar's easy, right? And the Japanese is like, hi guys, I have this like evil writing system, just like the Chinese, but a little more complicated than the simplified characters. And then also I have two other writing systems that aren't really alphabets, but they're like syllabic, syllabic, that's the word, syllabic alphabet thingies. And also I have like conjugating and like crazy grammar stuff like Korean, so the worst of both worlds. And Japanese. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now, just feeling very beginner level for the first time in a very long time. And it's very kind of daunting at this level because like there's so many words left to be learned and there's so little that you can say. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now, that daunting beginner phase where everything you learn feels like a big step, but you also feel very, very, very far from any semblance of fluency. So pray for me. And yeah, that's all I have to say for now. Until next time. 안녕. sayonara.